I'll tell you what, folks. If I was in that there America and I knew who was behind a channel called NYC ROCKS TV, I would be going over to them and giving them a big, big, big pat on the back. I really would. I'll tell you what. Unbelievable, man. If you like rock music like I do, especially the classic era from the 70s and 80s, you'll love what I seen last night. I seen part 2 of a 2-parter. I seen part 1 about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I seen part 2 last night. It's the John Sykes story. John Sykes, ex-guitarist of Thin Lizzy and Whitesnake and latterly Blue Murder, who I weren't really familiar with, I must admit. I'm going to get familiar though, I think. Unbelievable. Absolutely fantastic. Somebody has put a bundle of work into those programmes and they're brilliant. All the footage isn't superb. Some of the sound isn't superb. Some of it I think has been reproduced and some of it's very old and very grainy. But the show itself, the sentiment behind it and the knowledge that's gone into it, or what it tells you about the man that was John Sykes, phenomenal I think is a word people throw around a lot, and that's what it was. Absolutely brilliant. Watched the first one about 3 or 4 weeks ago, seen it on my YouTube feed and waited 2 weeks till I watched it. I thought, right, I'll watch an hour of it now before I go up to bed, or maybe a bit less. It was getting up to 1 p.m. An hour would have been about 10 past 1. In the end, it was about 1 hour 20. I thought, no, I've got to watch it all. I can't leave it till tomorrow. Did the same night before last about part 2. Absolutely sensational. 100% loved it. Honestly, I'll tell you what it is about John Sykes, folks. I remember him in Thin Lizzy, the last ever get-together, the Thunder and Lightning tour. I remember that well. I remember the LP. Good-looking lad. Lovely blonde mane of hair. No, I'm not that way inclined. But a great rock guitarist. And a great guitarist with it. You know, it was a real departure from Snowy White, and it was needed. Really give Thin Lizzy a kick up the backside. Absolutely brilliant live. Knew he was a good guitarist. Didn't know quite how good. Gutted when Lizzy finally broke, although knew it was going to break. Even more so when my hero Phil Lynott died. But watching this first episode, I realised how close Sykes was to Lynott. I didn't realise they were that close, and he said nothing but good things about Lynott, and I loved it. I love hearing anyone saying good things about Philip, because as I say, he was a hero of mine when I was a kid. He really, really, really was. Anyway, I'm watching it and I'm loving it, and I'm remembering back to when Sykes reformed Thin Lizzy with himself as the frontman on guitar and singing, because I didn't know he could sing. And I went to watch him in the first ever tour. They only did about 4 or 5 dates in Great Britain here. One was a place called, I think it was called the Queen Elizabeth Hall in Oldham, 20 mile away from where I live. Went on my own, not the first time, won't be the last. Went on my own to watch it, one, say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, midweek night, parked up somewhere. If I remember right, got wet going up to the old theatre. I think it was raining, but I could be wrong. I'm not so certain about that. My memory's not great. Really enjoyed it. Much better than a tribute act, because it was most of the band there. Sykes had played with them. Scott Gooden was on guitar, Downey on drums, and I think old Darren Wharton, I think he was on the keyboards. I think he's an Oldham lad, if memory serves. And it was a good gig. But I come away thinking, yeah, it was good and he's great on guitar. But he doesn't sound like Phil. Nobody ever does and nobody ever will. And I've seen him probably 4 or 5 times in that incarnation of Lizzy. And I never really give him the credit he deserved, because when I hear him more now on the TV and I'm more open-minded, he'll never sound quite like Philip. Nobody ever will. But he sounded a hell of a lot better than I thought. A hell of a lot better. And it's only in the last 4 or 5 months that I've really started to look at his guitar and watch him, and I thought, God, I didn't know how good you were. I didn't realise you were that good. I've now got to the stage where I had a favourite 5 or 6 guitarists that I've seen in my lifetime and seen live, and I think they're the best. I'll put them 5 or 6 up against anybody. He's definitely in my top 10 now. He might even make the top 5 or 6. He's absolutely brilliant. Didn't know how good he was. And I'll tell you what comes through from the programme, folks, from the documentary. He was really, really a lovely, lovely human being, but extremely modest. And as well as being modest, he was sort of too modest. He didn't know how good he was. He didn't really realise how good he was. And he embarrassed very easily. And, you know, I was surprised. There was one story there where I think he said, I think it was either Joe Satriani or Steve Vai. I think it was Steve Vai once presented him. They jammed together or something, or did a bit together. And Vi, or Satriani, whoever it might be, and gave him a guitar, just gifted him a guitar. And he was going around saying, he's give me this, he's give me this. Steve Vi's give me this guitar, I can't believe it. And somebody said to him, why would he not? You're a fantastic guitarist. You're very much in his league, which he was. Absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that might go and watch it, because honestly, if you like rock music, please go and give it a watch. It's brilliant. It really is. Hats off to those that put it together. Honestly, I wish I knew them. I wish I could message them and get hold of them and tell them how pleased I was watching it. I really was. Bits of it was sad. It's sad knowing that he's no longer with us. He's died too young. Yeah, he was 65, but that's no age nowadays. I think he's had the cancer for... I think he's had it for a while. He's told nobody. He's hibernated. He's not put on anybody anything. What a great shame. I think he's got 3 young kiddies that he's left fatherless. I think his marriage ended a good few years ago now, so he's lived with it and fought it on his own. Very, very brave. No moaning, no whining, no nothing. I don't think many knew he was ill. And he's had a rough time of it musically as well. He's been in 2 huge bands, but he got with Thin Lizzy right at the end. At a time they were knocking it on the head because of Phil's health and other things. He went in Whitesnake at just the right time. He really, really took him to the next level, and then got absolutely crapped on from a huge hype by David Coverdale. Without wanting to spoil it for you folks, and if you know Sykes, many of you will know the story, but Coverdale just systematically fired the whole band. You know, Sykes put a lot into what at the time I think was Whitesnake's biggest LP, and possibly still is, helped to co-write the songs, and then further down the line, Coverdale just sacked him. Sacked him all with no explanations, got management to do it, just didn't speak to them. Absolutely awful. I've heard bad things about Coverdale before. There's always 2 sides to every story. I don't want to hear Coverdale's. I'm on Sykes' side all the way. I think he was shit on really, really badly. It's a shame. And I don't think that he ever recovered from it, and I don't think he ever really trusted the music industry and executives and record producers just on the back of, or record companies on the back of that. It's a shame. He should have been worth many a million. He probably never made anything like the money he should have made. All I will say, without giving things away, he's done a live LP with his own band. I might not buy all the stuff from Blue Murder because I don't listen to as much old music as I should. I don't have enough time, but he did a live LP. I'm definitely going to track it down and buy it. And at the end of episode 2, the second part of the documentary, they go out with a song that's a well-known song by one of the bands he was in. I'm not going to spoil it for you as to what it is. It sounded brilliant. It's one of the best versions of any rock song I've ever heard, and it's possibly the best version of that song I've ever heard. And bear in mind, it will have initially been sung by either Phil Lynott or David Coverdale. I won't tell you who. It's just absolutely brilliant. If you get a chance, please, if you're a rock fan, go and watch it. Find it on YouTube. I've got it up there. I've held it now. What was it called? Wrong glasses. Bear with me a sec. It's on YouTube. John Sykes, his words, his music, a rockumentary film. Part 2 was on seen last night, 1993 to 2025. Part 1, the same, John Sykes, his words, his music, a rockumentary film. Part 1, 1980 to 1989. As I say, it's from NYC ROCKS TV, NYC ROCKS TV. One's been watched by 12,000, one's been watched by 45,000. They both should be watched by thousands and thousands and thousands more. They're just brilliant. Brilliant rock stuff. Fantastic. Loved it. If you get a chance, please watch it. You'll love it. Even if you wasn't a massive fan. It'd be great for that many like me that didn't know as much about Sykes as we should have done. I knew him, knew a bit about him, seen him a few times, didn't realise how good he was. Really didn't. Watch that. I'm sold on him now. Completely sold on him.